is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm
Oh,
married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic.
Oh, yeah,
with
the
Jake and
show's on
Tyler.
now. Episode 191, everybody. Off panel, off topic.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. We were supposed to start like 20 minutes
It's
ago.
fine.
But he's furious at me because I was
I'm not
troubleshooting the audio
at
issues.
all furious.
You're very passive
I
aggressive.
like to remind you that, hey, you know, we've been kind of dicking around for a little
Oh, fixing the show is dicking.
bit. Fixing the show.
That was
is dicking.
dicking.
There's a fucking song there. Fixing the show is dicking. You know what it's like.
Thanks, Paul.
Fucking.
Or
country
sorry,
all-
Albert Einstein.
What?
So
That was Paul Giamatti.
This
man.
is
Yeah.
this is a first in a while.
We've already sworn sang. So what are we? 30 seconds in, Les?
You said I mean.
Oh, we
it's
fucking
a minute and a half.
right away. You were
Not
like,
even.
"Fuck you," so it didn't matter.
Wow.
You were,
It mattered to me.
and then I broke the singing seal.
So you and I were talking, and sometimes, you know, we prep for the show, and then we have some things to talk about. We actually have a pretty news-heavy episode, and then we got some comic books we read.
Some comic books.
But I want to talk about the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a bigger Eddie Murphy fan than you are,
Huh?
because I've seen more Eddie Murphy movies.
I
feel like.
don't know about that.
On the whole,
Man.
okay, let's just go down.
I
the
feel
list.
like Preparation H does feel good. On the whole.
Okay, let's go down the list
Uh-huh.
and see where we're at. You say yes if you've seen it.
'Kay.
Coming to America.
Yep.
Trading Places.
Of course.
Nutty Professor.
Yes.
Nutty Professor 2.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
That one had a giant hamster shooting giant turds at one point. That's the kind of motion picture
I was
you're getting with that.
Let me just say this about Eddie Murphy's fall from grace
Yeah.
in terms of like box office. You know what I mean? That happened all while I was heavily drinking. So wasn't going to a lot of movies.
Yeah. That was at the period where it was like Eddie Murphy and Mike Myers were trying to compete with how many characters they could get on the screen at one time,
Mhm.
it felt like. And it's like, on one hand, it's the novelty of like, look at this versatility as an actor. And in my head of a comedic actor, on the second thought is like, he's really just doing the same stereotype fat character.
Yes.
And then on top of that, it's like you just took away work from all those other actors that could have been in this movie.
Also,
So-
let's
So, but no, back to the main topic of this. There's a movie you were talking about.
can I just say one thing about that is that the first time you watch those like clumps scenes,
Yes.
it is probably the most funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. Okay?
Well, yeah, because you've experienced that's like a family like you've
But
experienced
even the
that.
second or third time you're like, this is not that funny.
And it's just Eddie Murphy fucking talking to
There's
himself.
no it doesn't hold up is what I'm saying. Anyway,
No. So
do we want to keep going on movies?
No,
that-
I want to keep getting to where the Vampire in Brooklyn. No. And then he retorts, nobody saw that movie. I'm aware it was a box office bomb, but that movie horrified me because I saw it at a young age
Wow.
that I shouldn't have.
Wow.
And then I saw it as I was older. I'm like, oh, okay. This is Wes Craven and Eddie Murphy, but the novelty is this is like, let's put Eddie in a movie where he kind of plays against type. But in that same movie, he can't fucking help himself. He plays multiple characters. There's still comedy in this movie. So it's this weird comedy horror blend.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm saying doesn't, I'm a huge fan
See,
of that.
we give him shit for the clumps, but we don't give him shit for like Coming to America, where he plays multiple characters.
In the Vampire in Brooklyn movie, he plays multiple characters.
And why? Well, listen.
He's still, time out. He's still the
Nobody
same.
cares about Vampire in Brooklyn.
No, Tyler, I want to make a point. He
'Kay.
is still the same vampire. He's just like impersonating
Gotcha.
a human that he saw or whatever.
So the two movies that people have seen, I think the reason why is the clump stuff is all like one space. And the Coming to America stuff, like they do multiple characters
Well,
all
Arsenio
over.
does it too in that movie.
Right, but they do it all over the place.
Yeah.
Like the clump stuff like takes place at the dinner table at the family house, and that's pretty much it. But you got guys at the barbershop. You got guys playing ladies at the bar that they're trying to find in Queens. You got guys playing, all over the place. You got multiple characters. I think that's why I think Coming to America is better because you.
Well, I think Coming to America Coming to America works for me.
Still have not seen Coming to America, even though I have Netflix, and I still haven't seen Axel F.
Anyway, I was just gonna say I think Coming to America works as well as it does because Arsenio is really great with Eddie. I think they work really well in that movie. That's not what I'm talking about. The movie.
That's not what I'm talking
to
about.
prove that I am the Eddie Murphy fan, super fan.
Okay. Oh yeah, this
motherfucking Pluto Nash.
Have you ever seen 48 Hours?
Yes. Of course.
Another 48 Hours?
Of course.
Okay. All right. Fine. I tried to gotcha.
I will wear that.
I tried to gotcha.
So, but this is my favorite thing about it.
So Pluto Nash, tell me what that turd was like.
It's not good.
I know.
It's a movie that I'll admit I've probably seen a little too much of just because it was on. We had it on DVD because my parents were a part of that Columbia House scam, where it wasn't just CDs, it was also DVDs where they were spend. I don't even. know.
I scammed probably the CDs multiple times. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, but anyway.
Dude, it's 10 CDs for a penny?
We were joking about that
because
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, man, I guess I'm just like you don't realize you're like, oh, I guess I'm just an Eddie Murphy super fan because I've seen pretty much every movie he's been in, and that was my example. Nobody outside of my immediate family,
your household,
my house has seen Pluto Nash. I feel like because
I've never seen it.
So the whole thing. It
seems like such a great.
He has a casino on the moon
concept,
and it's in the future, and it's like they're trying to. The whole appeal of being on the moon in a casino on the moon is like it's not the same regulations as you'd have on Earth or some shit. I can't remember, dude. I can't remember. Fuck this. I don't even remember Pluto Nash. The point is, the big plot twist at the end of that movie. Again,
don't you spoil it for me.
No, I have to because it continues my thesis that Eddie Murphy has a fucking problem and can't help himself. The plot twist at the end of that movie is the guy, Simon Rex, cloned or made himself look like Pluto Nash. So the end of the movie, Eddie Murphy literally fights himself. Eddie's got a problem. Eddie, you could just be one character. You don't need to be... You just what is it? Narcissism? What is it? What is it? And I'm gonna be honest. I didn't expect to go down that rabbit hole on that bit, but I figured it out as I was saying it. It was like motherfucker cannot help himself. He constantly has to have more than one character in a movie.
One of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, which is kind of overlooked as an Eddie Murphy movie for various reasons, but Bowfinger.
Oh yeah,
that movie's fantastic. Where he plays his nerdy
Bowfinger. It's
his nerdy cousin or whatever.
Eddie Murphy deep cut Boomerang. Have you seen Boomerang? I've seen Boomerang.
I think I owned.
Holy shit!
Hey,
I'm an Eddie Murphy.
No, hang on. I think I owned the soundtrack, but I've never seen the movie because the soundtrack was banging.
The movie is,
I don't know,
forgettable. He plays like a playboy. And then he hooks up with a girl.
Sure.
But
do we really need to go into it?
But here's the boomerang, dude. Here's the boomerang. Right? He's a player. And he just fucks around. He don't give no shits. But then he hooks up with this girl. He hooked up with this girl and fell in love. He caught the feeling. Oh. But she wasn't interested. So the whole movie is him understanding a lesson or learning a lesson about himself and his masculinity and confidence and whatnot.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, you heard it here, folks. Jake Williams had a discovery in the year of our Lord 2025. He might be the biggest Eddie Murphy fan on the planet.
You might be.
Bowfinger is underrated. He's fucking great at that.
Bowfinger as a whole.
Showtime. Did you see that one? Where he is Robert De Niro is a real cop, and he's an actor.
I saw it once.
Seen that?
I think I might have seen that in the theater. When did that come out?
Have you seen Life with Martin Lawrence?
No.
It's a good one. It is actually pretty good. Shit, man, I really have seen.
What are we
every
doing
Eddie
here?
1,000 Words. Have you seen that one? Where you can't talk? Let's hire Eddie Murphy and not let him talk.
No.
Meet Dave. Actually, I have not seen that one. I did not see that one.
We get the bit. You've seen more
Because I feel like
have.
every comedian has that stretch where they kind of are out of money, so they got to make shitty.
You know,
Daddy Daycare. Have you seen Daddy Daycare?
You know who we need to get on the show is the Kevin James superfan.
Who is that guy?
I don't know, but I want to get somebody on here like that. And then the other one is, one that's not too common, but who was the guy who did? Oh God,
I've seen a lot of Kevin
Mango.
James. Right? What?
Mango on SNL. Who is that guy's name? He did the What Is Love with Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah, A Night at the Roxbury.
Fuck, what is his name though? The
Chris Kattan.
Chris Kattan. I want to know. I want to have on the I want to have as a guest on the show the Chris Kattan superfan,
dude,
who's seen everything Chris Kattan because he shows up in the weirdest fucking places.
I've seen A Night at the Roxbury an unreasonable amount of times.
Wow,
I have seen
not a flex.
I've seen Undercover Brother a lot.
Not a flex.
Have you seen Undercover Brother?
Have
you seen Undercover Brother?
No.
It's fucking great.
Why?
It's fucking great. And Chris Kattan is in that movie.
I drank a lot, man. I didn't watch a lot.
All right,
of movies.
let's get to the news. All right, welcome to the news
That's
section.
a sounder.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah.
Sounder.
Crack cocaine.
So
that's where we got it.
Some good news and bad news. If you enjoyed Captain America: Brave New World. So for starters, it its opening weekend was better than projections. So it did have a stronger start than they expected.
Sure.
However, it didn't have a good follow-up weekend. So Captain America: Brave New World made...
Do any movies really have good follow-up weekends nowadays?
Not these movies.
No.
Especially not these movies. So
no, but I mean like any...
Yeah.
Anyway.
I just want to get to that.
Yeah.
It made $28.3 million this past weekend, which is a 68% drop from the previous weekend, which as of right now is the third largest drop off in the MCU. Still, Marvel still takes number one, but it's behind. I'm trying to think of the other one. I think it was Thor. I think it's behind Love and Thunder.
Okay.
But this is not uncommon at this time. Yeah, I think that. Well, and they did point out in the article that I saw that I think it was like Variety. They pointed out that like 7 of the top 10 like biggest drop off weekends 7 of them were post Endgame movies.
Of course.
And that's hard because I feel like so many people think Endgame should have been it, and I think that it's hard to disagree because it hasn't honestly. There have been some gems, but there hasn't been anything since Endgame that has maybe be like, oh shit, we're doing some really cool, like, oh wow, like I've gushed. Look, I've gushed about things on this show, but nothing to the heights of that. You know what I mean?
I can't remember what I was watching, or if I was hanging out with some people, or if it was just a dream I had. Who knows? But, I overheard some people talking about it, and they were talking about like, well, I didn't like this, and I didn't like this, but I liked this, and it was the same old arguments that you hear from everybody about every Marvel movie. And to me, I was kind of like, why did you even bother going? Like, I know why I go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that there's enough money being funneled into this shit so that I still have stuff to go to and stuff to watch on Disney Plus. But I totally understand fatigue of other people.
Yeah.
But again, I don't fucking care. I'm going to go see these movies, and I'm going to be like, cool, it's Red Hulk on the screen. That's fucking cool as fuck, man. Holy fuck.
I had a friend that saw Brave New World this past weekend, and he didn't really like it. Obviously didn't like it as much as you or I did.
I'm okay with people not liking it.
I had the discussion with him, and I said, I don't feel like your criticisms are unfair. I just feel like some of the there are some leaps in logic, and there are some things, and like the way that he was talking about it, I'm like, there is a problem that I can't always lean on this crutch of its comic books and just be like, well, how did he stop throwing that like street posts with his hands if he's just a dude? And like that doesn't make sense. Why did he? I was just like, yeah, but there's also a fucking Red Hulk, man. I'm like, there's just like some things you have to accept. Like, and so that's the thing that I run into. People get so mad about it. And look, and I also said to my friend, I'm like, no, I think that I laid out my criticisms. I said it on the show how I felt about it. And I pretty much told him the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's not a perfect movie. It has its flaws.
Yeah.
But when I got into the what we talked to about, where I was like, but that's my issue. He's like, that's the issue. Or how did I say it? You have to like the suspension of disbelief has to exist because otherwise, no character is going to make a characters don't always have you have to make it where characters aren't going to make logical choices. They're going to make emotional choices.
Yeah.
Because if you logic this,
otherwise there's
if you
no
logic shit out,
conflict.
If you logic this shit out, there's no narrative. I think yes, logic is important, but like at the same I'm sorry, but if you introduce a Red Hulk, I'm not going to get nitpicky about Sam stopping a street post because you can say that about every single fucking Marvel movie. There's constant leaps in logic.
There's a giant red man destroying the White House.
And they're like, and
you're worried about that?
And I think there is an argument to say, okay, but you do have an established set of rules that you should stick to.
Yeah. Within reason.
Rule of cool will supersede. If it's really cool, you can forgive it.
Yeah, man, come on.
And my thought is like, man, it's Captain America fighting Red Hulk. I'm kind of into it.
Anyway, good.
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to point out that I think that I agree. I think that there are people that are just like the mystique is off. Where I think even leaps in logic and suspension of disbelief is starting to fade away because they're like, I think a lot of people, and rightfully so. I think, and that was kind of what the discussion had, where it was like, the criticism comes from people liking this stuff and wanting a better product. Or I don't want to say product. That's not what I mean. A better movie, a better piece of art. And
oh, fuck off.
No, I think that's fair. But at the same time,
I'm not going to fucking see a Coen Brothers motherfucking movie, man. I'm going to see brightly colored shit.
That
all right?
That was my
if you want to see Raising Arizona, go fucking see Raising Arizona. It's awesome.
That was my argument too. I said that. I'm like, I'm going to see a fucking Red Hulk movie, fight Captain America movie. Yeah. I'm not looking for anything.
A dude with wings and an indestructible shield.
When it's Godzilla fighting King Kong, I don't need a reason. Just fucking let him fight.
Yeah. Why does King Kong have a glove? I don't fucking care. It's cool.
However, I think the new thing right now, and it has been for the last few years, the thing is to hate Marvel. Like that's the cool thing is to hate Marvel. I think like I don't think there's any panic at all for Disney. Even with this big of a drop, I think they're going to be just fine. And this isn't going to slow down Thunderbolts. This isn't going to slow down Fantastic Four. I truly think if people didn't enjoy Captain America: Brave New World, and I think there are valid criticisms of that movie, I think I don't even know if those same people are going to see Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts is going to suffer the worst of this because it is demanding the most of its audience. And that was another thing. I think what hurts, like maybe Disney will understand this Disney Plus stuff hurts the movies because of it hurts the story because you have to have characters have super drawn out exposition to explain where we are. Like you would, like the paragraphs you have to do in a comic book, you have to do it with dialogue. And
sure, but no.
And my point is, not everybody's gonna watch all this shit.
That's fine.
So how are you expecting them to get excited about a Thunderbolts movie?
Listen,
I'm excited, but
the spoiler-free review I read of Brave New World before we went to see it was, the guy was like, the one thing I didn't like is it forces you to know stuff about, this movie and this, project and all this other stuff, and it's like. Not really.
No.
It gives it pretty well in the first 5 minutes. This is where we're at, and this is why. You don't really need much else. And if you didn't see Hulk and you didn't see that scene where Samuel Stearns is all like, oh, and his head's going whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't need to have seen that. You don't need to have seen William Hurt doing it. You just don't. And so I would counterpoint with you that as long as the Marvel movies are not like Thunderbolts does not need to have a whole bunch of exposition, and it shouldn't. There should not be, and if there is, I'm going to be kind of upset.
It's not
because there shouldn't be. The point of this movie should be you don't know who these fucking guys are, but they're going to save the world. Should be the point of this movie. So don't give me a bunch of exposition.
But I think
give me a bunch of this is what they're doing
of
now.
the three movies, Thunderbolts I think potentially could probably suffer even bigger drop.
You're right.
I think the one that's going to handle the best. I think the one that's going to make it the most is going to be Fantastic Four.
Of course,
because it's how the fuck are we going to make this retro futuristic movie and also tie it to the MCU? What's happened? It's going to be so interesting. And what we're going to be going forward. Again, it sucks that I don't want this movie to have a big drop. It sucks that it has a big drop. I think
that's the nature of movies right now. I think,
and it's also I don't necessarily know if it's going to die out. Like people have been talking about superhero fatigue and this shit dying out for 10 years.
I'm still cool with it.
Like 10 years now.
I still love them.
But what I hope is we kind of go back to basics and we strip this shit down a little bit. I know it's impossible, but I love the idea of going back with lower, smaller budgets and making these more intimate movies. And you know what? If you're going to do something with Disney Plus, fucking keep it there. Or if you're going to do anything with those characters, put them in Disney Plus shows or do anything like that afterwards. So then it's Hawkeye is a perfect example. You don't need to watch Hawkeye at all. It has no impact.
Mm-mm.
Even if you figure out later that Kate Bishop is Hawkeye, because there's going to be, even then you don't need that fucking show to figure that out. And I think they'll be fine. I think Marvel is going to be okay. I think Fantastic Four is going to make a lot of money. I think Fantastic Four might be the best of the bunch. Thunderbolts though looks really fun. I'm really excited. David Harbour is just fucking devouring the scenery, and I love it. I'm also excited to see Wyatt Russell in it again and give see his second shot at doing U.S. Agent. Did you hear what he said about the helmet? He goes, he was so excited about the redesign because he said the helmet didn't look like the tip of a penis. I was like, now that you've said that, every time I look at Cap's helmet, I'm like, it does kind of look like a dick.
Wow.
With a big old A on it.
Fucking just disrespecting Cap.
Disrespecting Cap. All right, some more Marvel news.
Yeah.
Ba-da-boo. There was a rumor floating around over the weekend that, it's no surprise that X-Men is kind of being the new focus for Marvel.
Okay.
Going, in the MCU and everything
Sure.
like that with 97 and all the stuff they're doing. So there was a rumor from John Schneider, who's a known scooper in Hollywood.
Super scooper.
He was on a podcast and he said, get ready, the mill's open. It's a rumor that Marvel Studio. Wait, hold on.
Start
Something
over.
happened.
Oh.
Okay. We went out for a second.
Rumor mill.
We're back. Rumor mill.
Okay.
All right.
Lots of dust. Sawdust. Okay.
So anyway, he was on there saying that there was going to be a Disney Plus show, a new additional X-Men project that would be on Disney Plus. It was going to be called Academy X. It said Academy X series was in development and that could potentially lead into the X-Men movie, or it would be a spin-off that would be released after the movie. So some way it's going to be tied to that.
Interesting.
Which kind of just... I said the last bit for a reason, because it's this would be a dumb decision to do. This is how we're going to bring in the X-Men and finally in live action to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're going to do it on Disney Plus. There's no fucking way Marvel would do that with one of the most popular teams that they have.
Academy X is not going to be a cartoon.
No, it'd be live action.
Why? Make it a cartoon.
But that's what I mean. You really think... First of all, I could understand it coming out after the movie.
Right.
But to think that would be to be before a movie would be silly. But hold on. There's more to the story. Marvel streaming head, Brad Winderbaum. So the first Screen Rant originally ran an article talking about that rumor. Then, within a day or two after that, they asked Marvel streaming head Brad Winderbaum about it. He said, quote, I think anybody could say anything online, and it's the rumor mill, and people get excited. Right now, we are still working on X-Men 97 Season 2. It's coming together amazingly, and the scripts for Season 3 are insane. That is certainly scratching the X-Men itch for me on television. Winterbaum also added, and there is an X-Men feature in development right now, so that is the focus of the X-Men currently.
So what I was going to say is there an X-Men movie coming?
That's confirmation right there. I think...
But did he say... Now, hang on, because, I mean, are we talking like...
Currently is what he said.
I know, he said an X-Men feature. He didn't say it's gonna be the X-Men, did he? He just said it's an X-Men.
There is an X-Men
right.
feature.
So, what are we thinking?
I think it's X-Men.
Really? You think you want to just put them all in?
I think he's just saying it facetiously. Like, feature. No, I think it's going to be... I don't think we're going to see the full-on, this is the Sacred Timelines mutants until post-Secret Wars. Like, that's, to me, the only thing.
Post
so
what?
We're not even, like, Secret Wars. So
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not even talking until, like, 28, 29.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And we're already teasing it with adamantium.
Mhm.
But there was an article, there was a headline that said it was, it's something about, it was a food analogy. We're just saying that there's no nutrients. It's just like little snacks, but no nutrients. It's like,
So what?
give us more.
You know what? Little Debbie's fucking rule. Why don't you all shut the fuck up?
Yeah,
anyway.
But that also was kind of crazy because now what are we doing with X-Men? Because
See, that's what I'm saying.
how are you going to do it if you're just now introducing adamantium? How the fuck are you going to do Wolverine?
Right. Well, I think it makes more sense for them to do, like, okay, Doom comes into our universe from the Fantastic Four's universe because the Galactus devours
Somehow
it.
RDJ is that Doomsday. Or that Doom, I mean.
Let's get this clear. Victor Von Doom's fucking face is never fucking seen. Why? Because he's scarred for life. You don't see it. So all these articles and what you just said, which, not you, but all these articles, well, how are they going to explain that he looks like Tony Stark? You're not going to fucking see RDJ. You're going to hear him behind the mask, but you are not going to see RDJ.
And given his like, there was something he did on HBO where he played multiple characters. But I would not be surprised.
Yes.
I wouldn't be, and he did a British accent for Sherlock Holmes. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did like some sort of accent
I'm just saying, like,
to make it sound like the comics.
The fact that you know he's
Sound
RDJ is really going to be the sound like the comics.
sound like the cartoons.
Sound
Good
like
Lord.
you would imagine in the cap. No, but
Litvarian.
if you didn't know that it was him, I like to think that you wouldn't guess. Or you might guess based on the voice, but also be like, oh, that's interesting. Now that we all know, I think that was kind of planned to be like, look, let everybody get it out of their systems that why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? By the time you're actually on screen, people won't really give a fuck because you'll be so good doing it.
And he did. Well, he said he didn't want to come back as and do Tony again because it wouldn't be the same.
But it makes sense.
So now he's doing a different character.
Right, but it makes sense. Also, he gets to play the villain, dude.
I still hate it.
Really?
Until I see it. I will tell you this. Now that you're just the way that you're describing it, like, well, if you think about it as like he's Victor Von Doom, so he's always going to be behind a mask.
Yeah, he's never maybe
and he can do a voice, and he could do something like I imagine they're going to modulate his voice or do something
in
weird with it.
In my mind, if you do a flashback to show his origin,
well, yeah, you're going to have to show him.
You
Or
use a
double.
young actor.
Gotcha.
Who looks kind of maybe, but it doesn't matter what he looks like because you're never going to see like adult Victor Von because he's never. That mask is there because of what happened to him,
With
and
him
that's
in
what he blames Reed for.
Yeah.
And Reed told him, hey, if you do it this way, it's going to blow up in your face.
Literally.
Despite that, Doom still blames Reed because
he's a narcissist. He can't blame
whatever.
himself.
Yeah, whatever. But it does make way more sense to, Doom, he comes in here and he decides, you know what? I'm going to take over everything in this universe because you guys couldn't stop it, and he does. Then he brings all these realities together in an incursion, like a super incursion, and makes Battleworld for Secret Wars. After he's defeated and Battleworld is broken up, the MCU will have a soft reboot. So
absolutely.
Is it 616 is the MCU?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 616...
Technically, it's 19999.
Yeah, whatever. They'll have the X-Men. They'll have Spider-Man.
Well,
they'll
and
have Daredevil.
the
They'll
idea
have
is
everybody already there.
You know what I would love, because this would be the ultimate.
It'll be kind of a soft.
It would be
reboot.
the ultimate.
New Captain
What's
America.
old is new.
New Iron Man.
Hold on.
No.
It would be the perfect what's old is new again, and like the ultimate rebirth of a franchise is if you blow it all up with Secret Wars, and then the reboot of the MCU is with the fucking X-Men. Because the X-Men started all of it 20 plus years
That
ago.
might be pretty cool, but
Come on. I think the X-Men are going to be in Secret Wars.
I
think Deadpool
yeah,
and Wolverine.
I think you're right.
I think Thor holding him was a gag because it's just reused footage and they just put him in there. But he is going to play a factor. I think they are going to do and I again,
well, in the Battle World or in the original Secret Wars, the
Why
most
is Thor
recent
crying?
one. In the most recent one, there's a whole book about the Thor Corps, and it's actually a really fucking great story.
God, I hate.
What?
We're gonna get into it about my love-hate relationship with comic books.
Thor Corps was
Thor
cool.
Corps. You got a Blue Hulk and a Red Hulk and
No,
and
you just
all of the Thors.
no. You had all the different Thors in Battle World were all cops. That's what all the cops were. Is they were all Thors. And there's a
into the Thorverse.
no. It's during Secret Wars, so it's on Battle
Well,
World.
it's not a secret if I know about it. Should say not. Why are they called Secret Wars, Tyler? If we know about them, tell me why are they secrets? Why?
You'd have to ask the
you know
guy
what-
who
you know
named him in the first
Before
place.
Secret Wars comes out, I still have that. I think or did I give it back to you? You for a long while ago, you said I have this. You should read it just for like posterity of like the history of it. And it was Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars. And
Do you still have it?
I think I still do. I can't remember if I gave it back to you or if I still have it.
I might.
But
I think
before
you gave it
before Secret Wars comes out, because we'll still be doing this show with our 8 listeners, we should go back and read that and be like, how far off is this going to be?
Well,
because there's no way this is going to be anywhere close to what that is.
Yes. Well, here's the thing: is that they might try to bring in the symbiote suit for Spider-Man through
They could
Secret
do that.
Wars, because that's the original Secret
That's
Wars
how it
when
happens,
that happened,
yeah.
right? But I doubt they're gonna. They might have little callbacks to the original Secret Wars, but I think they're more gonna.
None of this is going to be like
I
that,
think they're way more gonna heavily draw off the most recent Secret Wars.
Yeah, Secret Wars 2 with Captain Marvel.
Which is
and
Doctor Doom takes over and makes Battle World, which is all the multiverses on one.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to do that.
So in this world, all the Thors are the cops of Battle World. So it's an interesting story because they have to solve a murder case, and there's this one Thor who is thought of as like the main Thor in the main Marvel comics, and he's a disgraced Thor. He doesn't have his badge anymore, and everybody thinks it's him who's doing
like
the murders.
Donny Cates,
It might be
King
Donny
of
Cates.
King of Asgard, Herald of Thunder era
No,
Thor.
this was during Secret Wars. It's a
I think Secret Wars was wasn't that like 2016? That in the new one?
probably. But they have
Because it was time out. Sorry, it was.
no. Before you continue, you think about what you want to say. But they had a bunch of collections because during the Secret Wars era, they just had like mini series. Like, hey, this one is a 6-issue series. It's called Thor Corps. This one is a 6-issue series called Secret Wars Battle Journal or whatever. And it's basically just people fighting each other. This one's about the mutants. This one is about, Doctor Doom. And this one is about the zombies and all that shit, right? And one of the ones that I bought, I want that back, dude. The one that I got for I think Half Price Books was the Thor Corps, and it's a really interesting book, really really interesting book because they have to solve the murder of all of the Jane Fosters in Battle World.
Oh, this is the U.S. Agent.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I never read it. I forgot you
fucking dick.
We should have.
What's the other one too? Fantastic Four.
Human Torch and also the Samaritan.
Oh wow, that one's
Namor in there.
That one's like golden age, dude. That one's like
There's some like casual racism in this one. I'm
a
pretty
little
sure.
bit. Not so much, but I'm sure it's in there.
It might be upstairs. I'm pretty sure I still have it, or I could have given you back.
It's okay.
to you, but I think we should definitely do.
I do want
like
that
I want to
back.
do things
I
like
forgot
that.
about
I
it.
like to do because we'll get to it. Actually, you know what?
Here's the fun thing: is if you have books that I brought over and I forgot about them, A, you still have them, so it's not like they're gone. B, you're not stealing them. They're just not.
Found it, motherfucker.
Nice. Is that the whole?
Yeah, it's Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, the original. Wow. Yeah,
The
see, it
whole
even has the
10 issue-
symbiote suit on
The
the
whole
back.
12 issues.
Well, this was a big deal too because they say there's like a big forward about it. Tom DeFalco, he was the editor at the time, right?
It was Jim Shooter,
Shooter.
and he's the one who wrote that actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, anyway, there's an
It was his concept.
introduction in there, and it kind of explains that like this was the first time that Marvel had really been like, let's put all of our heroes into this big event.
Yeah,
and do something.
they had really. In fact, it's widely considered to be. I think because it happened. Oh yeah, it happened before Crisis, I believe. So it's widely considered to be the first major company-wide crossover in comic history.
Yeah.
Because it was the first one that involved more than. I mean, I think they did like Avengers. I don't even think they did like the Korvac saga was I think like in Avengers books, but it wasn't all everybody.
All 12.
This was everybody.
This is all 12.
Yeah.
Like I would love to do something like that. Like we can kind of segue into it because actually, you know what? That would be a good segue.
Anyway, the point is I'm not worried about like I don't know what I have at home, and the fact that I don't know about them, like I wouldn't be reading them. I'm not worried about it. I got so much other shit going on.
You were gonna tell me about that in a minute, but I kind of like the idea of going back. Like I know every podcast, like comic book podcast or comic book YouTube channel, like there's certain arcs you're gonna cover. You know, there's just certain iconic things. And so I mean, I know that we're not doing anything new, but I do like the idea of occasionally dipping in a retro review every now and then to talk about. And so you gave me like one of these like retro reprintings.
So I was at the comic book
first-
store, and my pull list didn't have anything in it last week because nothing came out last week for me. I only have like 4 or 5 books, and I went to the back to where they had the new issues and just looking around, and I saw they had that, and then they had Fantastic Four #2, which I didn't bring with me. I don't think. No. Now, Fantastic Four #2, we reviewed Fantastic Four #1 once upon a time on this podcast. And I always think it's really interesting to read like older books and to review them. We also did Action Comics #1, didn't we? Yeah, because I have the reprint. We did Action Comics.
I don't think we were going to, but I don't remember reading it.
We did. We talked about how Superman was a total dick and he didn't really fly. Anyway. Okay.
Maybe you talked to your brother about it because I don't remember that. I think we would have talked about it on the show because I would have brought it up like this fucking book. So I got Spider-Man in my hands. This is a reprint.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Of the Amazing Spider-Man #129.
And that's volume 1, so back in the 80s.
February.
And it's a direct reprint, which means that all of the ads
Old ads,
exactly. And look at the back. That
Evil
fucking
Knievel toy.
That toy
I
was
even
the
knew about
fucking
this toy.
coolest, man. We had that. It broke right away.
1973 is when this was originally printed. So I
think my
by the
uncle
way,
had it.
and the collection
The Evil
there, the
Knievel.
Secret Wars, and the collection of the Captain America one I had over here. They don't have the ads in them, but it's still really cool to see them reprinted and just for preservation's sake. It's cool to see them like recreate what it would have been like to read a book like this in 1970.
Well, for a long time, people didn't really. I mean, I think it was was it the guy who did? I don't want to say Frank Miller, but not a lot of people played with paneling.
No.
You read these old
these are
books.
all pretty
They're
similar.
I mean,
grid.
you have varying sizes, but they're all rectangular or square, right? There's no like the Defenders books we read with Javier Rodriguez and the Absolute Wonder Woman we just read.
Well, I think that's
every one of those books, how they play with the.
Well, and I think that's what makes like stuff like like Watchmen so effective because David Gibbons doing that strict 9-panel style was emulating what these books were like at that time. So it was like you were really seeing them kind of manipulate that, and then that's something I was talking about too. And it consistently when reading this, it's like how fucking wordy these books are. First of all, they didn't know how much they're like some of these are just words and a picture. Like
they really didn't do too many full-page spreads in these books in the old days because of ads. They didn't know if it would be printed right. If like half the image was printed on this page, and then the next page was like an ad page, and then the second part was here.
Just take the book.
But like like a full-page thing, like you wouldn't know if it was going to be printed like on this newsprint sucks. Like there's a double ad, right? Like so you got like here and then here, right? You don't know. So they really didn't encourage that. There wasn't a lot of just the way comics were printed at the time and everything. There wasn't a lot of leeway to do stuff with paneling. And I love that artists now are doing so much more with it because of the way I think they have a better idea of where the ads are going to be and how many pages and which one.
It's also interesting to think of like how whenever you think about like it's important to understand how far we've come as a medium.
Yeah.
When you read some of this shit because the book literally so the book starts with him shooting Punisher. Mm-hmm. This is the first appearance of the Punisher. That's what's so significant here. Mm-hmm. The first appearance, he's shooting the statue. And then, first of all, his gun is red like a fucking toy because of the comics code.
Sure.
So he says, "Don't speak too soon, Jackal," because he's like, "You're gonna fuck him up." And he's like, "Don't speak too soon, Jackal. The action on this concussion rifle is still a little stiff." And then he goes, "I'll need to have a mechanic look it over before I go against that web-slinging menace." And he goes, "Certainly, but the point is, you can kill him."
So. Hang on.
It's like, but no, because the book, this is literally how they're introducing a character.
Right.
Is he's just like, well, you'll kill him. Like, you look cool. But you're the bad guy.
We talked about the bones of the character. He says the mechanic. Read it again.
Yeah.
And that's Microchip. That's his guy. So right away, before they even introduced him, like even a page, they already had an idea if he was going to have, he had to have some sort of guy that was like, keeping all the safe houses and keeping the money, and whatever. He had to have an accomplice. So that's kind of cool that was already built in there.
Oh, I love the ads of like six LPs or 5 tapes for only 99 cents.
Dude, we were so stupid, and there was no laws on that. By the way, it's about to become like that again. Get ready. Yeah, because
good lord, there's so many double-page ads. You weren't kidding. So before we even get to the actual fight,
and
with
we
the Punisher,
don't really need to get into the book itself.
I do because
the plot is
there's
whatever.
Just some funny things of like how
it's just cool
of its time. It is like
it's cool to see of its time. Yeah,
it's so clearly written for a younger audience at this point because, I will say this shot is iconic because it's been recreated before in the. Okay. Activision Neversoft Spider-Man video game.
Great, awesome.
Like they almost do a shot-for-shot recreation of that, but just like the thing where he gets shot at by the Punisher, and his Spidey sense is going off, and then 1 second now 2, and then he shoots at him, kablow. Holy crud! Like just the way that, and again, it's the comics code, so you have to write in a certain way, and he's like. And then just like how wordy his explanation is in the thought. Some sort of concussion projectile, if it hit me instead of that abandoned tenement, made it clear nobody died, I'd be a mushroom cloud right now. Wait a second, on that rooftop across the street is a glint of silver. And then, I just go, it's funny to see how a book was written in 1973.
Well, here's the other thing, too, is we got to understand that there was what was called a Marvel method at the time.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee's talked about it many times. And what it was is that...
First book?
What?
Sorry, I'm interrupting. Go on. Keep going.
Yeah.
The Marvel method. I apologize.
Yeah, what? You threw me off, motherfucker. The Marvel method was basically a guy plots it out, and then the other guy draws it out. So then the writer pretty much has to put the words in to what he's got back from the artist. There wasn't a lot of communication between the writer and the artist.
I remember hearing
which is
about,
kind of unfortunate.
I remember hearing
so
about
that's
that.
why you'll see like, you know, a thought balloon that fucking takes forever. It's because the writer needed to get that shit out, and the only panel he had from the artist, I don't know.
I don't know if it was always but I did remember hearing,
I know that had something to do with it.
I do remember hearing things about that's how Stan did it. Like he would get the panels
For a long time. It was
from,
called the Marvel Method. Look it up. You can look it up on like Wikipedia, and it describes how it was done. And it's basically the artist was not necessarily given direction on what to draw as much as this is the plot of the book. Draw 22 pages. Come back to me, okay? And then I'll put in all the fucking script. I'll put in
everything. Yeah.
I'll put in the
all
words and the dialogue and
that.
shit. Right. And that to me, like, it's almost like working backwards, but it also, a lot of issues. It made some, caused some issues in some of the issues.
And then eventually they started
Get it?
And then eventually someone along the way was just like, hey, you know, maybe if we scripted this out and we wrote our thoughts and paneled it out, to work with the artist of like how we want to panel each page and how we want it to look.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's almost like it's a partnership.
Well, the problem
you got to work together.
The problem with the Marvel Method is that is why Jack got screwed so much.
Yeah.
Jack Kirby got screwed out of so much because Stan, yes, the gestation of the ideas was from Stan, but the design and the actual like dynamic art, that was Jack. And you can't have one without the other. And the fact that Stan didn't immediately go to Jack and go, you're right. We need him on board. No, I'm going to go to DC and make some shit called the New Gods because they gave me total creative control. They were like, wait a second, Marvel's giving you up? Fuck yeah, whatever you want to do.
One of the most prolific artists right now?
Do you remember when, you remember it was almost like a James Gunn thing.
All right, everybody. It's almost like Marvel and DC. Oh, I forgot to fuck it. Before we even get to this.
You forgot to fuck it?
I forgot to fuck it. Do you remember the anagram or what? The fucking DC Marvel crossovers of the 90s?
Yeah.
Did you hear the news that they're doing a DC Marvel crossover again this year? I'm not. I don't think I saw the actual title that's gonna be or what the titles are gonna be, but they're gonna do it again, which is pretty cool. Pretty stoked.
It's amalgam.
Anagram
Anagram
what the fuck
is,
was I saying?
like shield.
Anagram is like a meat
or Hydra.
Meat pie. Anagram and team is meat. And there's no I in pie. What? I was doing the Shaun of the Dead bit. Anyway, let's talk about books.
A fucking butthole, dude.
Let's talk about the dumbest fucking idea Marvel's had.
Wow, give me that book. You don't deserve to hold it.
Hey,
time
out, Tyler. Let's play a game. I got 3 books here. And they're all stupid as shit, all right?
Wow.
I'm kidding.
But
I got 3 books, and they're all 3 stupid ideas from Marvel. Which one is it? Which one do we want to go with? Do we want to go with Power Man Timeless? Do we want to go with Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon? Or do you want to go with Eddie Brock Carnage? Let's start with Eddie Brock. I'm sorry, I didn't even throw it down like that.
Yeah, fuck you. Those are my books, Dick. Let's
fuck that book.
Wow, I'm not gonna fuck any book, okay? First things, you slow down, Mr. Man. Okay?
First book we're gonna talk about is Eddie Brock.
No. Let's talk about him as a whole first, okay? So now let's talk about, before we even open the damn books, let's talk about why these right away kind of suck, okay? Let's start with, and we are going to talk about this one first, but let's start with Eddie Brock Carnage. Let's do face value first.
Ass. No, I'm kidding.
Start with Eddie Brock Carnage. Yeah, duh. Let's take the best Venom symbiote host ever and bond him to Carnage. What a
sworn
stupid
enemy.
Why don't you just give me a Wolverine and a fucking Ghost Rider? Power Man Timeless. Let's move on to that one and do that face value, right? Power Man Timeless. What do we think that's going to be about?
Time out. Go back. So, in my hands, I got... I want you to continue this rant.
Come on.
No,
Come on.
I want you to keep going, but I want Stone Cold to help you. So what do we got? What do we got in Power Man Timeless?
Well, it's an old man, story.
What?
And it's got, he's got the power of the Hulk.
What?
And the power of the Sentry.
What?
And the power of the Iron Fist.
What?
And some other shit.
What?
And he's come to the Marvel Universe proper.
What?
And his whole... We'll get into it, but I'm fucking so tired of
Thanks, Steve.
Power Man. I'm so tired of old man stories.
Oh, God, it's so fucking tired.
That one's dumb. So then let's go to the last one, which is what?
Rocket Raccoon, or Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon.
Okay, first things first, Dr. Doom is inherently evil, and Rocket Raccoon, no matter what fucking version in the comics you want to put out, which is the original from Bill Mantlo and Mike Mignola, and that is the best version of Rocket Raccoon, or the fucking shitty-ass version that James Gunn did in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that's translated over into... You read that book. That's the version that they have in the Marvel Comics now. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with the version in the Guardians movies. The problem I have is that they have made the character in the comics exactly like the movies now. So that wonderful character that we used to have is gone. That's my problem with it. But anyway, he's still a good guy. He's still a good guy. And Dr. Doom is inherently evil. And J. Michael Straczynski can take a shit and go to hell. Because he's not that good of a writer.
What?
Okay.
All right. So first of all,
So we already know these 3 books are probably gonna suck.
I will say this.
But here's the twist. One of these books is actually pretty good.
All right. So let's talk about. I would say arguably is the best of the bunch
The 3, yeah.
that we're talking about,
Still,
which is Eddie Brock Carnage.
Still plenty unnecessary, I would say. But
sorry. Doom, it's Doom Reign Supreme is what we were talking about earlier. That's
it's called One World Under Doom up at the top right.
Yeah, and then in that he apparently turns Ben back into Ben.
It's whatever.
He's not a rock
We're not.
anymore.
That's an ad. We're not doing
But
an
anyway,
ad.
Eddie
We're
Brock-
doing the book. Yeah.
Venom. It takes place after what's happening in the Venom series. So in the Venom series, Eddie and Carnage was his own. He didn't have a host for a while, and then out of whatever happened in that event, they had to bond together to survive. So now we are officially out of ideas, and Eddie Brock is the host of Carnage.
Hang on.
I'm
Before you gloss over everything. No. Hang on.
I'm trolling. I'm fucking with you. I'm trolling.
know. Carnage is by far the most violent of all the symbiotes.
Yes.
And based on the whatever stuff happened, it's been brought up that, hey, the only host that can possibly control Carnage would be Eddie Brock, because he's well known as being, the best host of Venom like ever. So that's the story. And it's interesting to me.
Again, out of ideas. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe one
Third
last time.
time's the charm. Third fucking time. The trilogy. What does it say? The trilogy concludes. There was no trilogy when you first started.
No.
Now you just realized, hey, we need to make a sequel.
Because everybody apparently likes to watch Deadpool kill the Marvel Universe. I don't know.
I'll bet you the ad for the second one was, the 2-part series concludes this May.
So Eddie Brock, Carnage,
yeah.
written by Charles Soule.
Soul.
Artist Jesus
Saiz. We know this guy.
But not Paul Asaquita. He's not on this one.
No.
Color artist Matt Hollingsworth. Letterer VC's Joe Sabino.
We don't have to get all into it, dude.
Well, I was just going through
That's fine.
the main credits.
All right.
I know because a lot of people work on this book.
So now we open the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to.
I know, but I don't want you to just gloss over this shit because I know you don't like it very much, but it's actually pretty good.
Can I give my perspective
I
as
guess,
a Venom stan?
Shitty, yeah.
Because
fucking Venom stan.
First of all, this motherfucker, I'll say it, harassed me to read this fucking book.
Oh, what am I reading? Fucking Nightwing?
Yeah.
Please.
If we have a long box tonight,
No,
I will talk.
we won't.
I will wax
We
poetic.
can. Wax poetic.
What a phrase! I love it.
No, I like it.
So my take, and I said it on the show, And I still feel this way. Even though I think this is an enjoyable book,
Sure.
I still feel this way. That it's like, wow. I'm struggling because I love this medium so much.
Sure.
And there's it's like anything. And I always say it's kind of like pro wrestling, but I could say this about movies too. When comic books work, they're fucking incredible, man. When they work.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have concepts like this, it is really hard for me to justify that when I'm trying to get people into the medium. And I'm like, hey,
Yes.
you should read a book. And I got to be like, well, like, wait, isn't he Venom?
This is what happened.
So
Can I say, look,
it's just how I feel about
the
it.
little blurb at the front of the book does a really good job in a couple paragraphs of explaining what the fuck is going on for new readers.
It does.
Now, I do like that Marvel does that, and they have for a while now. They have a little title page that says what is going on. They usually have a thing at the top that's like, this is the Fantastic Four, and this is who they are, and then this is what's going on, So it's helpful.
And I want to say
you can almost jump in on anything.
And I want to say,
Yeah.
again, I'm shitting on it because I'm a Venom stan apparently, but this motherfucker harassed me. First off, you gave me these books like last Wednesday. Because these were like the new books that you had read of, and you're like, hey, we could read these for this week or whatever. So I get the books on Wednesday. I was legitimately playing, doing other stuff. I was reading the Tom Taylor Nightwing book that I've been reading. I had all intentions to read it, and more importantly, when you gave it to me, you kept stressing how much you liked it, and it was so much better than you anticipated. So you're like, you gotta read it. You gotta read it. I'm like, okay, I will. I'll give it a chance.
Okay, I will.
Whatever, man. All right, I guess. So
do it like Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
I would do that every so often when he was running around. I go,
It was fucking great.
Yeah.
Great. So anyway,
so I finally read it on Friday. We were recording on Monday. Yeah. We keep trying to dodge. Oh, he's laying down now. It's a fear that my dog's gonna bump the table and mess up everything. Because I need to buy a new piece of
we
equipment,
can't
and I'm
fucking
too lazy.
go on to fucking Sweetwater
Or Amazon.
Jesus.
Give Bezos some money.
Okay, anyway,
So
your perspective.
my perspective on it is, yeah,
sucks.
you keep hyping it up, and I read it, and I truly mean this. I was like, I was not into it as much as you were. It just wasn't my thing. And maybe I'll admit it. Maybe it's the Venom bias. Maybe I'm a Venom stan. But then when I didn't give you the proper response, you're like, well, fuck you, you Venom stan. So anyway, tell me. You go through it. Why did you like this book so much? Eddie Brock.
So obviously it's a
Eddie
dumb
Brock
idea.
Carnage.
Yeah,
season.
obviously it's a dumb idea, and we're like, okay, so whatever.
It's
and we open with Eddie Brock, and he's on an airplane.
It is a cool first issue. I will say that.
And he's trying to. Carnage is basically just like telling him, like, man, come on, let's go kill somebody. Come on, let's go kill somebody.
They know there's a killer on the plane.
Yeah.
And Carnage is like,
so then
let's kill somebody.
He literally like puts out feelers to everybody on the plane, and finds out that none of them are the killer. So then he goes, oh my god, it's the pilot, and he goes into the fucking cockpit, and the dude is like, oh shit, you're right, it's me, dude. So he just takes out a knife, and he's like,
crazy.
I'm the only holy thing here, demon. You say it's over. But I'm not done yet. And he just jams it into the other dude's fucking throat. Just and Carnage is like, beautiful. Just beautiful work.
Yeah.
And
and of course, instead of Venom talking to him, it's Carnage. So the whole time, Carnage is constantly wanting Eddie to just fucking kill and kill and kill. It's like, we have all this power. Let's use it.
So the dude decides to cut everything so that the plane won't work and it's going down. And Carnage just fucking tears him apart. That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
So this is the guy who did the Punisher series with Jason Aaron.
And he did a great job.
Jesus Zaiz. And he's great in this book, but you're kind of running through it, and I know why you're doing it. But I wanted to talk about the feeler scene.
Okay.
So the double page splash when he like lets out the symbiote to like put feelers in everybody to sense how they're evil or whatever.
Yeah.
To find the killer. That there's elements of this book similar to Helverine that lean a little horror adjacent, and there's some shots like that. Like I want to give the book props, Tyler. I really liked this shot. I thought that was really cool. And then when he goes into the cockpit and he finally turns, lets Carnage take over. He kind of looks. He looks like traditional Carnage, but because of Eddie's size, he does kind of look like Venom did. So it's kind of gives that Venom look.
Well,
to him.
Carnage has always he's
always more slender.
His general host. Let's say what it is. His general host is Cletus Cassidy, and Venom's is generally Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock was
Always
already
jacked.
Before he even met Venom. He was already depressed and doing nothing but lifting weights and figuring out how to get back at Peter Parker.
And he was also
That's all he was
also
doing.
got that size because he was abused as a kid. Like his father was abusive, and he kept. It was a thing for him that came in later with Lethal Protector. And
Right,
shit.
but I mean.
But yes, he was jacked before he became Venom.
So that's why Venom is generally kind of bigger.
To see a Venom-sized Carnage was interesting.
But then so he realizes he's like, I got to get all these people out of the plane and find them, and get them somehow. And he's flying. It's so weird because he's got these big demon wings and he looks like a demon, but his face is still Eddie Brock, and he's like, oh, I'm just saving everybody. He's got them all in a big net, and he blacks out.
This is the best part. So.
When he's trying to tell him to drop him.
That Venom looked like they had, or like Venom had in the King in Black Donny Cates stuff. So he's flying out, and he's like, Eddie, what are you doing? Because Carnage wanted it to be like, look at the body count we could have. Just let the plane crash. We can just get out of here. So as he's flying, he's pissed, and he's like, you sanctimonious monster. How dare you sully me, my legacy, by doing something like this? You don't deserve me, Eddie Brock. I'll kill you. I'll kill you dead. You'll never see it. It just gets bigger and bigger font. Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. And it's like...
And then he realizes...
Then he blacks out.
No, because it goes to there, and he realizes, let me try a different tack.
Yeah.
What does he say to him then?
Imagine how good it would feel to kill this many people. Your life's been so hard, you never get to
it's
feel
like
good.
The,
you don't
it's,
want to.
it's,
Just this once, we could do
this. It's like the kid having the tantrum. The kid is having the tantrum, and at some point, they realize, wait a second, if I go nicer, or if I maybe cry a little, you know what I'm saying? That part was really cool because he's getting louder,
Yeah.
and then he's like, Eddie, don't you think it'd be really fun if we just, he just changes tactics just midstream.
Again,
I don't think I'm gonna get number 2. That's not what I'm saying.
I
don't remember how it ends.
I don't even,
how does it end?
The ending's interesting, but the ending is like, I'll be kidding, because the ending is.
Don't tell me. Let me see it.
Well, I'll show you. Well, I want to talk about this because I like this. So.
Oh, yeah.
There's a sequence where he wants to have a conversation with Carnage. He's like, I blacked out. What happened? I wrapped all those people up in that giant net and hopped out, saved everybody. You were pissed. What happened? And he's like, I won't. Pretty much saying, like, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, that's a really cool
And that's
sequence.
the final thing. Yeah, because it's Carnage in a suit and a fedora, and it's kind of like this, 20s, roaring 20s, pinstripe suit. So it's like you see how Carnage views himself. And then the last shot, I'm like, okay. Because I thought to myself, this isn't going to be this isn't going to be an ongoing series. This is clearly going to be a mini-series. They're not going to do anything past this. And the last shot is all the potential hosts that Carnage wants. Because he's like, I don't want to be with you. You don't want to be with me. Let's find me a host.
We have Silver Surfer, Bullseye, Galactus, Phoenix, Hela, Daredevil, which is Elektra, I think, Daredevil. Bushwhacker, which is a Daredevil villain. I don't know.
Let me see.
And then Venom.
And then
I believe Venom is there too.
Venom, yeah. Yeah, I don't know that other guy.
I don't know.
But the funny thing to me is I would actually kind of love Bullseye. Bullseye Carnage would kind of slap. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, okay, so we're done with the book. I give it a pretty decent grade. I don't think I'm going to buy number 2. But
I
look,
would definitely, if it were like a trade at like a library or
Sure.
something, I would definitely rent it.
We
I
did
would
a
read
story.
it.
We did a story within the last year about Funko Pop going bankrupt and burying like millions of dollars of these fucking stupid fucking plastic things. And every time we go into Jay's, how many brand new fucking kinds of pops are there, right? And one of the things that they have, one of the stupid ass fucking trends that they've had, is Venomized or Carnage. Characters. It has nothing to do with the comic books. It's like, hey, here's a Venomized Captain America. I'm like, why? It never happened in the comics. I don't fucking need. I bought it, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm fucking shit.
Well, they have shit like Venomverse to justify it.
The point that I'm trying to make is that this is the kind of stuff that you're trying to tell me, like with the Hulk being Galactus' herald. You're trying to give me these things like, what happens if Carnage takes over Silver Surfer? Well, I can go buy the Funko Pop, so I don't even need to read the fucking story because the story's probably fucking stupid anyway, Marvel. I'm just, what I'm trying to say is that stop trying to make so much fucking money off of so many different things. Bring it back. Bring it back. I know you're never going to because it's rampant runaway capitalism and we're truly, truly fucked with who's in the White House right now. We're fucked.
Well, I think it.
But that's the only thing I can say is stop making these like, oh, and here's a Gamerverse Funko Pop. I don't fucking care. Stop making Funko Pops. Stop making Eddie Brock Carnage books. Shit like that. Stop doing it. It's never going to happen, but stop doing it. Please, for the love of God.
Well,
and that brings us to
Power Man Timeless,
Fuck.
which is the ultimate example of. Oh, jeez. Sorry, it's flopping all over the place.
Stop it.
Yeah, like you give a shit about that book.
Yeah, it's number one.
Oh, shit. So, Power Man Timeless continues the current Marvel trend, because look at the back! The back is Doctor Strange of Asgard. Like, he's just the Sorcerer Supreme on Asgard. So Marvel's
Well, it's part of the One World Under Doom crossover.
What is it? Ah, my God.
Okay, so let's just read. Let's just read.
Read the blurb.
Yeah. In his world, he was the last superhero standing. Where have we heard that one before? In his veins, the blood of the Hulk. Where have we heard that one? In his mind, the war between the Sentry and the Void. In his palm, the Iron Fist. Now, look, man, if you're going to give me a bunch of fucking, like, superheroes, give me, like, ones that give a shit. Like, Power Man having the Iron Fist, I don't care. Power Man having the Hulk, it's the same fucking powers. What?
He just turns green.
What did fucking do,
he can
man?
go through the green door, apparently.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat part. That's the only cool part. When the moon god Khonshu made Danny Rand his immortal
Yeah. Look at that.
Moon Knight
Look at that shit.
and
Why?
attempted to consume existence, Luke Cage used
Sorry.
the teachings and powers of the mightiest heroes
Tyler,
in his dying age.
Marvel, DC, guys, just kill continuity and bury it.
Cage retook his old name, defeated a god, and
Just
freed
bury
his
it on
friend.
the moon, apparently.
But when he returned to life, it was to a foreign reality. Oh, is it the real Marvel continuity? I
you know, time out. Can I just say, I understand I'm part of the problem because I'm like, I would kind of dig it. But
there's some interesting parts.
Tyler, I want to be clear. On principle, it can be annoying, but it can work. Helverine, I actually enjoy that Helverine book, and it's a silly concept, but it works. The writing's there, it works. This is just nothing. It was 22 pages of nothing. I got done with it, and I'm like, that was it? That was the first. What the fuck was that? I didn't know anything that was going. And then,
what is this douchebag's name?
what is the point of your? Yeah, you just use it right before that. But what is the point of this story to be like? Well, it's Luke Cage, but yeah, he's got Iron Fist, he's got Hulk, he's got all the like.
Aeon the knife. Who fucking cares?
And then he fights Aeon the Knife.
Fuck off.
There's a like I will say.
The Celestial Heart is neat.
Go back to the beginning. I want to look at the credits. Who's the artist? Because the art is great.
Bernard Chang.
It's beautiful art. The story, what is it? We just know that he
comes back to our reality, but then all of a sudden he's outside of our reality right away.
No, they're setting that up.
Yeah, whatever. No, what they do something kind of neat in the book, and again, one of the few things that's cool. is that the celestial heart is what the red spot on Jupiter has always been,
Yeah.
which is kind of neat. But that's about it.
So, it's like, but why? Why do we feel the need to jam 4 heroes into this guy? Like, what?
And give me some different ones, you know? Like, make him have the powers of, like, I don't know, fucking Psylocke or something, you know?
Yeah.
Give him a mind knife, a psi knife, whatever. Oh, fuck that thing.
So he's flying around in space like the Sentry, and instead of it glowing his hair, it glows his beard. That's kind of neat, I guess. Nah. So yeah, the sequences that I thought were really cool is when he gets cut.
Yeah.
So he gets into a fight. This guy cuts him in half.
Mm.
But when he gets split open, you see him split open and then fall through like different versions of himself in through the green door, all inside his head in one page. It's a really trippy panel.
It's trippy, man.
And as like we were talking earlier with the Spider-Man book, you're seeing like how far we've come as a medium. Where like that's such an insane paneling decision and style.
Yeah.
So yeah, they hang out in this.
Sure, the art's nice.
The art is the best thing about it. Everything else is blech. Blech. And it's just, it's just like, what are we doing? We're inside the Celestial. She's like, I need your help. I don't give a shit.
And this guy shows up.
He comes back and cuts the heart in half. And then Luke Cage turns into Hulk Cage. And, yeah. It's just...
Guess what I'm not buying? Number 2.
What? It's so tired. We've had so many of these old man stories. And then on top of that, you're smashing 2, 3, 4 fucking characters on top of him as if
Look, the trend started with trend started with old man Logan and then old King Thor, and then what the fuck was it? Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now all 3 of those stories are pretty good in their own ways, right? But then you give me like old man Star-Lord, and you give me old man fucking this, and you give me old man this, and old woman this, and old what fucking... Then DC starts fucking doing it too. I don't know if you noticed it, but they started fucking doing this bullshit too. And it's just like, look, Alan Davis did this one miniseries called The Last Fantastic Four Story Ever. And it doesn't necessarily say that this is the end of the Fantastic Four, but it does. It's just a big, big book. It's big and epic, just like the Fantastic Four. Everybody in the Marvel Universe shows up at some point. But it doesn't say like, hey, this is the last one ever. This is the end of time. This is the end of the Fantastic Four. Because it doesn't need to. It refers to the last Fantastic Four story ever. It refers to... If you never read another one, this is the only one you ever need to read to get what the Fantastic Four is all about. And I loved that about that book. But all of these old man and old woman books have failed to recognize is that it was a 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 times with different characters. Old man Cage he made mistakes and now his world died. Okay, that sounds like old man Logan. I'm sorry, but that's kind of...
he just got all these fucking
powers.
He's
got demons, and now he's
always...
he's got nowhere to go.
I did enjoy that the Void was the narrator. I thought that was kind of fun.
There's elements of the story that don't make it just a complete fucking fuck off.
It's just nothing.
But it's, yes. I just didn't care for it.
No. I was just like, that was lame. Like, there's nothing for me.
I don't even want to go into this book.
I don't want to talk about it. It's so lame.
Here's the only thing we're going to say.
I did not like it.
We're going to briefly touch on it, and here's why. Apparently, J. Michael Straczynski has a contract with Marvel that he can do 5 books of 2 strange characters together. The next one is Nick Fury and Fin Fang Foom.
Yes. Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom?
No, not necessarily versus, just the 2 of them. Okay. Yeah, again, who cares?
Yeah, why are they together? Why?
Cash grab. I don't know. The point is, the book is not worth reading because it is, from what I understand about all these books, they have nothing to do with regular continuity. Nobody's ever going to reference them. It's just, if you really like J. Michael Straczynski, fucking go out and get yourself a copy, bro. Because it's his shit all over, man.
Okay.
That's all I can recommend it for. If you really like his writing,
I can see that.
the art is pretty good. But again, it's just a nothing story. There's no story. In fact, if I remember, like,
What's his
Doom summons him to help him do something or whatever. I don't.
Which
fucking
is more
care.
forgettable, Power Man Timeless or Rocket Raccoon and Doctor Doom? And I think it's that one because at least I could be like this one. There was that cool pan. Like the art is great in that, and it almost
Power Man
makes up for
Timeless
that.
has some great ideas at its core, right? But a lot like we've talked about the Lethal Weapon series, the TV series, right? If it had been called something else, it would have been like, wow, what a great cop show,
Yeah,
right?
if it would have been a totally original character, I'm like, what the hell is
Yes.
going on? And I'm so
Yes.
disoriented by this. That'd be such a crazy first issue.
Same thing with this shit, dude. Same thing. You made it Power Man Timeless, and you used all these, you brought all these characters and everything, but it sucks because you didn't, I don't know, give me Power Man and like fucking, like I said, like Psylocke, you know, or and sure, you can give him the Iron Fist. That's you know, character, accurate.
That one makes sense.
That makes sense, right?
'Cause
Because
he
he
was
was
his
his
friend.
best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now you have like the Iron Fist and the martial arts, so like hand to hand. You got Psylocke, so you got like the Psy knife and shit. That's cool, man. Right? That's cool, right? Now, okay, how about now Silver Surfer? No, but somebody who flies. Who flies?
Sentry?
But no, because that's, I mean, sure, Sentry, if you want to add that element of like, you know, kind of schizoid behavior type of thing. I'm not saying that Power Man Timeless is a quote unquote worthless book. To me, it didn't need to exist.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy it, I'm not.
Yeah, good for you.
I'm not bringing you.
But
I'm not trying to bring you down.
Not for us.
Just did not really
Didn't appeal
trip
to
the
me.
trigger. And again, I think the next time, and I even sent you a photo, and I'm like, I had to. I had to see. I had to see.
Had to see how bad it was. Because on paper, it didn't look good. Didn't look good.
Again, I'll give it a solid B because the art's good. There's interesting ideas in there, but again, it's just there's so many other ideas that are overran and overwrought that we've seen before and everything that we're just getting again. It's like, anyway.
Yeah, and it's just...
That's how I felt about it. Whoa.
I was trying to pull up the old soundboard.
So,
Oh, I got ads.
can I tell you something really funny?
What?
So, and we'll wrap the show up here.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, well, it doesn't... I thought we'd have a discussion.
About what?
Something... It won't... I won't go at it like a long
What
one.
is that Captain America over there? Under this Spider-Man. What is that?
The 80th anniversary one that you had. I don't know why you left it with me, but you did.
Really?
What are you doing on the air?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I wanted to talk about Tom Taylor's Nightwing, at least partially, because I haven't
Before you
finished
do,
it yet.
can I get this out of the way?
What?
So you remember how I love Newhart and they took it off Prime?
Yeah.
So I finally bit the bullet and I ordered the entire 8-season run on DVD, and I'm currently watching it on my PlayStation 5 on DVD, and it's really, really fun. And here's the best part: Prime didn't have all the episodes; like it skipped around a lot.
Oh wow.
So it's fun because I am seeing the occasional episode that I have never seen before, or I haven't seen in a long time. But that's my long box. Is I'm reading fucking some serious. Watching fucking Newhart in a whole lot of ways.
Whole lot of ways.
Whole lot of ways.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, fuck
So
you, man.
no, I have always had an affinity for Nightwing and Dick Grayson as a character. I thought he was always interesting. It was funny because I've been wanting to read this run for a while. I don't have the whole run though. I only have the first 4 volumes. But I had read this first volume a couple years ago because this run started in 2021, But Tom Taylor, he also does a book that I would love to get my hands on and read for the show called Deceased, which is a perfect name for a zombie book in the DC universe called Deceased.
Fucking did the zombies too. Fucking beer.
Hey, did Marvel do vampires?
The DC did a fucking big. Yeah, they did.
Oh, they both do. I know. Anyway, so this is Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing, but this
Submariner,
so-
Aquaman.
This was interesting. This is volume 1. This is the beginning of Taylor's run, but it is still considered as the ongoing Nightwing series.
Can I ask you to explain something to our audience, because you need to explain it to me? The other day when you were leaving, you told me, what did you say to me? Why Nightwing?
That
was
I
so
viewed
popular.
Nightwing because you saw these, and I was like, no, I love Nightwing. And you're like, why is I've never understood why Nightwing is so popular.
Right.
He's the first Robin, but now he's doing his own thing. And I said, he is a better Batman. First of all, I did say that. I don't know if you heard that.
I don't know.
But I've always contended that Dick is a
What you said
Dick
next.
Grayson is a better
What
Batman.
you said next was like, what?
But I think he's gotten so much popularity because he's DC Spider-Man. And now I want to be clear. I'm not saying in any way that they are comparable in popularity.
I started figuring out why you said what you said,
It's
but I want
because-
you to explain it because I think I know
First
where
of
you're
all,
going
he
with this.
he moves. His whole background. He was a trapeze artist, so he always is moving acrobatically and flipping and dipping and diving and
Dippity doo.
and he literally has these batons that shoot grappling hooks, so he swings about. So I'm like, Spider-Man's right there. But it's that aspect of he's poor and he's trying to do it in
I thought it was going to be that he was young.
no, and it was that he's doing it his way, and and it's very similar.
My way, thwip.
Very similar how Spider-Man rejects Iron Man sometimes, and he just says, "Hey, man, I gotta go my own way, Tony." Very similar to Dick.
Wow.
That is negated by this book because this book is the opposite of that. No, I'm kidding. No, this book does a little twist on it and continues my thesis that Dick Grayson is the better Batman, because this book argues this is how you should be a Batman. So in this continuity, in this story, Alfred has died in the DC universe because this is in canon, and so at this point, Alfred is gone, but Alfred left his fortune because Alfred, this is the most comic booky thing about this book. Alfred stayed working with Bruce and doing all that stuff because he wanted to, because he was a secret billionaire. Like, he secretly had a bunch of money that he kept in investments, that he took advisement from people that Wayne knew and all this other stuff. But then he chose to just work with the family, be with the family because he loved them. He viewed them as his adopted family. There's actually a really sweet note that Alfred leaves for Dick where he says, "I'm so proud of you to call you my son." And very, very sweet moment.
Can we tell the audience about how
Yeah, you
how
rolling
hard I
your
roll my
eyes.
eyes?
So, but what
I'm just being a dick over here.
So the main thing of this run is like, okay, so Dick Grayson is gifted all this money, and rather than build better tech and do things as Nightwing, he decides to use the money as Dick Grayson and makes himself known publicly in this trade, this particular part of the run. But he makes himself public, and his whole thing of how he's going to do Nightwing is he is still going to be Nightwing, but he is going to invest his money in social programs. So, like, he's legitimately trying to rebuild Bloodhaven by doing shit that Batman should have been doing decades ago and investing in the community. Because what happens is he gets his wallet, he's had the money at this point, and then so he sees some homeless people, and he's like, I know what I could do with my money. I could help people right now. And so he's like, okay. So he gets some homeless people together, and he feeds them from the local pizza place. And some kid swipes his wallet at some point. So then he goes to track down his wallet. Then he finds out where the wallet is. And he goes, oh, and looks around, and it's a bunch of homeless kids. And that's what, like, rattles him, and is like, okay, this is how I'm going to save Bloodhaven. I'm going to invest in this and this. And then, like, so it's really cool. And it's like, when you ask me why people like Nightwing, read this fucking book. Because Tom Taylor crushes it with this book. And Bruno Redondo's art is fucking phenomenal. Look at it. I will
Look at it,
did
you son of a bitch.
Real quick, did you read the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run?
Yes.
Not the same artist, but it emulates some of that style and some of that humor a little bit, but it is very much its own thing. I have really been loving this run. I want to know how it ends. I'm really considering trying to get I don't think they have an omnibus out, but I would like to try and get a collection. I was at Barnes & Noble the other day. Tyler, they had a fucking Nightwing omnibus, like all the collection of like a bunch of his shit. It was like this thick, like the Bible. But anyway, if anybody wants to read Nightwing, I know that's in canon of the time, but the way that Taylor wrote it is, I feel like you can jump in at any point, because at some point Dick Grayson gets shot in the head, and in comic books where he should have been dead, he just loses his memory, and this is after that. He's got his memory back. He's back being Dick Grayson. He's black. He's wearing black and blue. He's back in Bloodhaven, and he's doing it, and then he gets the money from Alfred. But as that's happening, he also... This is where the book takes liberties, by the way. I forgot about this. In this first volume, the mayor gets their head crushed by Blockbuster. Because Blockbuster pretty much runs Bloodhaven. And he appoints a new mayor, Maria Zucco. And the Zucco family is responsible for killing the great Flying Graysons. But when he confronts her, he finds out her last name isn't Zucco. Or her last name is Zucco, but her dad is not a Zucco. It's a Grayson. He finds out she's his secret sister, his secret stepsister. And so apparently, this is where the book takes the most liberties. In the time that the Flying Graysons exist, that they're touring, Dick's mom and dad are not together at this point. And there's a woman that Zucco is an abusive man, and she like runs to them, and they save her, and they have her join the circus. And apparently they hook up, Dick's dad and this woman, and she gives birth to Maria, his stepsister at this point, or his half-sister, I guess. That's the only time in the book I was like, that seems really dumb and unnecessary, but okay, I guess that's where we're going with this. But every other aspect of this book I think really works. Oh, shit, I got to show you. So they did something really, really cool in the second volume. So they start the second, I think, what issue is this? I think it's issue number 87 of Nightwing. Tyler, this is important. I need you to look at this. Because this entire issue is drawn like it's one continuous shot. And he's just ignoring what I'm saying. So,
well, you wanted me to read your fucking book.
No, I didn't ask you to read it. I'm trying to show you the one continuous shot.
Fuck, what?
So, no, look, it literally starts and it continues, and the whole story continues on the next page. It's all one continuous running visual that they do throughout the whole issue. And there's just like little shit like that. I want
to say something so smart ass, but I can't.
It's cool, isn't it? You know it's
Fuck
cool.
You.
Fuck you. You want to read this book now, don't you?
No, I fucking don't.
Because you know deep down inside, Dick Grayson is the best.
Deep down inside, in places you don't like to talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Also, this book ships Barbara and Dick super hard, and I'm all for it because I love them together.
Oh, you don't want a Killing Joke movie where Barbara and Batman just
to
fuck
his friend's daughter? That's
fuck?
cool.
What the fuck?
What?
That's what Gordon said when he heard the news.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.